Part 19. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 181. Chapter 181 on the necessity of output power. Satoru was blasted out of the laboratory by the angry Orochimaru. There's no way, Orochimaru, who likes to play around with his face, can't stand Satoru's thick skin anymore. And what kind of bastard title is that Master Scholar? Handing the master level enchanting magic to Orochimaru, Wu knew that after throwing out these things, Orochimaru would definitely abandon his ninjutsu research and turn to honestly work for him. In terms of deep routines, you are still far behind, teacher. Satoru happily returned to his secret laboratory. Theoretically speaking, after reaching the level of an archmage, mastery of time and space can even create a special space within a certain range. The Kirin-Tor Magic Council, where mages gather, has many such secret spaces. Not to mention the guardians who have inherited more exquisite secret arts. Although Medeva's mage Tarkarazon was created by his mother Egwin, it was also created by the guardian. In Karajan, in addition to normal spaces, there are also many twisted and layered spaces and secret rooms. Therefore, on the basis of the space backpack, opening up a real private space is Wu's current research topic. This is not the same as Obito's Kamui space, it's not something you can enter and exit casually with just one eyeball. If you don't master the unique private incantations of each mage, if you want to enter his private space, maybe you can only try your luck with teleportation. But intruders generally end badly. The private space of mages also has multiple protections. Through unremitting efforts and the blessing of the Book of Medivh, Wu has successfully opened up his own private space at the beginning of the new year. In addition, various secret space traps of the Guardians have also been arranged. Since then, Wu finally can be regarded as the person who carries the villa with him. In terms of secrecy during missions, no one is better than him. The next thing is to work hard the continuous blessing of arcane power, so that the private space will continue to expand and stabilize. While Wu is working hard to advance in technology, other people are not idle. Under Satoru's vague reminder, it only took more than a year for Minato Namikaze to finally successfully develop a ninjutsu tailored for his own fighting style. Magi ninjutsu with a difficulty level of A, Hilawan. The successful research and development of the spiral pill makes the combat system of Namikaze Minato more complete. Utilizing the ultra-high mobility of the Flying Thunder God art, as well as the superb physical skills and super-strong nerve reflex ability, the powerful attack power of Helix Wand can be maximized. This powerful Magi ninjutsu developed with reference to Tailed Beast Jade was even evaluated by the third generation of Naruto Sarutobi Hiruzen as the ultimate change of chakra form. But what Minato never forgets is the other side of Tailed Beast Jade's powerful power. In the extreme form change, plus the change of nature. It's just that this kind of difficulty is not useful for purely theoretical questions, and requires repeated practice. But Minato does not have the supermodel's huge chakra, nor does it have such an exaggerated number of shadow clones, so it is impossible to use cheating methods to comprehend this point. Even ordinary spiral pills can only be gradually familiarized with water, let alone changes in the nature of fusion. Fortunately, he still has enough time. Brother Wu, teacher Jiraiya said that my chakra level has basically passed, and I can proceed to the next step of cultivation. When Satoru was researching a new topic, Minato came to him. However, teacher Jiraiya suggested that I come to see you first. The amount of chakra is qualified. Wu was taken aback for a moment, and realized that when Minato was doing basic training, he didn't know what the training was for. As for the information about the Sage Mode, Jiraiya didn't tell Minato before he was really qualified to learn it, which would not do him any good. Now, though, Minato, who has just turned 18, is clearly eligible. Let me tell you. Really, where is Mr. Jiraiya? Are you still collecting materials? Tsunade-sama is not here, is he getting more and more unscrupulous? Satoru put down the research project at hand and complained. The first novel written by Jiraiya didn't seem to sell very well, so Namikaze Minato liked it very much. However, after Jiraiya, who was hit, decided to go the wrong way, he let himself go even more. Don't you even have time to teach apprentices now? Jiraiya-sensei, he was called by Fukazaku Immortal to drink tea at Mount Miyamu, and he hasn't come back for several days. He summoned Toad to tell me about this. Mizuman became weird on the surface. He had seen what Fukazaku-sensei meant by drinking tea. Teacher Jiraiya is over there, I'm afraid it won't be easy. I heard that the village has recently received a lot of missions to catch peeping thieves. The third Hokage-sama especially consulted with Mr. Jiraiya. Well, Mr. Jiraiya was called away by immortal Fukazaku. The corners of Ryuzu's mouth twitched and he couldn't help covering his face as he watched Minato speak the explosive news with a pure face. Okay, I understand. Then next, I will explain to you the content of your next practice. Jiraiya obviously couldn't hold back in Miyamu Mountain anymore, and wanted to pull his disciples to share the joys and sorrows with him. Mt. Miyamu, one of the three great fairy lands, possesses a powerful unique skill called Xianju. After telling Minato the principle, cultivation requirements, and methods of Xianju, he suddenly realized. So that's the case. No wonder teacher Jiraiya has been asking me to do basic training. It turns out that it is to prepare for practicing immortal arts. But then Minato got tangled up. Well, that is to say, the fairy mode requires a long preparation time and the duration is very short. It is not very practical for a fighting style like mine. Indeed, when it comes to dealing with people alone, Minato, your fighting style is speed-based, and you can even kill the target when the enemy can't react. Satoru agrees with Minato's concerns, but he then points out the flaws in Minato's fighting style. Even though the Flying Thunder God has been improved to the present, it still consumes a lot of chakra, especially when using Flying Thunder God Guide Thunder to divert the target, it will consume extra chakra. There are also spiral pills. The more chakra you have, the greater the power, but your own chakra is limited, and the power of the spiral pills also has an upper limit. The more you use chakra, the more tired you become, but the more you use Xianju chakra, the more energetic you become. To a certain extent, the immortal mode can also prolong your combat time in disguise and increase your output power. Especially, when your opponent is too strong to be human, or in other words, not human at all. Minato's eyes froze, thinking of the 9 tails that were still sealed in Kushina's body, and as many as 8 other tailed beasts. You are right. Immortal art is indeed necessary. Well, it doesn't matter if you are not proficient. Your teammates will buy you time, but if you don't have enough output at the critical moment, you can't defeat the enemy. Yes. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 182. Chapter 182 Coincidence or Fate. Madara-sama, there seems to be some changes in Konoha recently. In the secret cave, Uchiha Madara, who was closing his eyes and recuperating, slowly opened his eyes, and Haze floated up from the ground in front of him. Oh! What changes? Madara, who has been looking for Nagato's guide, is a little interested in the news brought by Haze. It's just enlightened 3 generations of Mizukage, and Konoha has changed again. I hope it's good news. Madara-sama, Baiju, who is watching around Konoha, hasn't noticed the actions of rude people for a long time, so I went quietly to investigate. Heijuxiangban reported his investigation process in detail. Konoha is covered by the enchantment of perception. Madara-sama, the method of entering the enchantment you taught me is already, well, it's too old. I was almost discovered. So, I can only sneak into the ground and try to approach from the ground, but the barrier of perception seems to be covered in the ground. However, I found that there is a passage in the ground that seems to have been deliberately set aside, avoiding the barrier of perception, and going straight to the outside of Konoha. Some secret personnel and materials will be transported through this channel. Huh. Secret passage. Madara became interested. Would there be such a thing in Konoha? It must be the high-level Konoha who can avoid the barrier of perception and open up this passage, but why do they do this? I observed the materials transported from the passage, and there were a lot of things that seemed to be used for experimental research, so I attached myself to a staff member and sneaked in. Heiju narrated it expressionlessly, as if it was just a machine with no emotion. That is the most secret laboratory of Konoha's roots. I was in it and saw the interstitial cells. They are studying the interstitial cells. Humph. This shouldn't be a secret. Konoha has even muton ninjas. Isn't it natural to study the cells between the pillars? Madara snorted coldly, dissatisfied with the information that absolutely spent a lot of effort to bring. The so-called change is this? No, it's not, Madara-sama. The reason why I say that is because I found out a piece of news. Heiju's eyes changed slightly. It seems that he was also shocked. The leader of Konoha's route, Shimura Danzo, seems to be having a bad time recently. He was deprived of the position of Hokage assistant by the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, and he was banned from leaving Konoha for 3 years. Madara frowned. This news is the change that Heiju said. Reason? The reason is not clear. I dare not go deep into the laboratory. There are strong guards with roots there. These are just the news revealed by ordinary experimenters. Heiju took it for granted, then tilted his head. But it seems like a good opportunity. That's right, this is a very good opportunity. I'm almost sure that this channel was opened secretly after Shimura Danzo was suppressed. A look of confidence flashed across the old face. And the purpose should be this laboratory. The research they are doing should not be as simple as intercolumnar cells. This Danzang, there is a problem. Of course, what I need now is the guy with the problem. Absolutely, find a way to investigate the cause and effect of the matter clearly. It doesn't matter if you spend some time, the information must be accurate. Yes, Madara-sama. In the past few days, Shimura Danzo has always felt a little restless. It always seemed like something was going to happen, which was a very bad feeling. Could it be that Rijan has any backup, or is that Kid Wu still biting at him? Danzo also regretted a little bit. The son of his old consultant friend, Mito Monto Satoru, was really troublesome. Although I knew that he was a genius, I didn't expect that the genius was a bit too much, and he had such a wide network of contacts, and everyone was a heavyweight. Although there was no real damage in the last blow, after a period of time, Danzo still found that he was gradually distanced from the high-level power center. It seems that there must be some changes with a large enough impact. Master Danzo. Danzo was silently calculating, and a root ninja appeared. Master Baileahua, please come over and say that the experimental project has achieved great results. Major results. Danzo had a somewhat gloomy expression, and finally showed a smile. Is that kind of uneasiness a harbinger of success? A portent of excitement? It seems that I am overthinking. The root ninja retreated. Danzo stood up slowly, adjusted his attire, and then put on a serious expression, and headed to Baileahua's laboratory. How's it going? Entering the laboratory, the ecstasy on Baileahua's face that had not dissipated was keenly captured by Danzo, so he was completely relieved. Really good thing. Master Danzo. A strange color flashed in Baileahua's eyes that no one noticed. The situation is much better than what you need to know. Then he greeted him enthusiastically. He first crossed Danzo and closed the door. Our long-term efforts have finally paid off. The universal transplantation of intercolumn cells is a success. Hearing Baileahua's announcement of the result, Ryu Danzo's city government couldn't control his expression. Very good. What about Mutun? Would escape blood following the boundary has also been successfully transferred. Moreover, the special properties of the cells between the columns make the quality of chakra greatly improved after transplantation. Although there are still some data that are not clear enough, they are undoubtedly beneficial directions. Then, how did the rejection of intercolumnar cells suddenly get resolved? If I remember correctly, your original plan was 3 to 5 years. Danzo's question made Beiliu applaud lightly. Danzo-sama is really aware of the details. Originally, using the body tissue of the rope tree as a buffer requires a lot of work, but maybe it's the special feature of the underground environment. Not long ago, in an accidental experiment mistake, I discovered a special kind of spore. Spore. Danzo still knows about this thing. It is not surprising that the reproduction methods of mushrooms and other fungi exist in underground secret rooms. That's right, this strange spore has produced amazing adaptability to intercolumnar cells. Maybe it's because of Mutun? Beiliu was also a little unsure of the specific reason, but the experiment went well beyond expectations, so he decided to put this matter aside for further research. In short, thanks to this miraculous spore, we now have practical results several years in advance. Very good. The opportunities arising from experimental mistakes are not unfamiliar to Danzo, who has been in charge of secret research projects for many years. Many great discoveries are based on some strange coincidence, or luck, or even fate. Has fate finally come to me? A cold light flashed in Danzo's slightly narrowed eyes. Very good, Beiliu, then, prepare for the test. If you have a few experimental subjects, you can still get them. Yes, Danzo-sama. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 183. Chapter 183 The Celebration Banquet of the Heitake Family. Well, Kakashi, long time no see, congratulations on being promoted to Chunin. Cheers. Many people gathered at Sakumo Heitake's house today. This is a party hosted by Satoru, but the venue is Heitake's house. Anyway, Satoru can be regarded as half of Kakashi's enlightenment mentor, and also a subordinate of Heitake Sakumo. To celebrate Kakashi Heitake being so young, or becoming a Chunin at a young age, Satoru is the perfect host for this gathering. Needless to say, Nesuke, Minato, and Nanu, this is the number 1 team in Umbu under Sakumo Heitake, and all members are present. In love, Uchiha Mikoto, a former member of the Satoru team, who has been promoted to a ninja, was also invited. Of course, his boyfriend was ignored. In addition, the Zoladi trio who already looked mature also appeared. Their teacher, good friend of Heitake Sakumo, the eldest son of the 3rd Hokage Hirozuru Sarutobi, and the captain of Enby Commander, could not attend because of a mission, and the 3 of them came to participate on behalf of their teachers. Apart from the fact that Dingzo started to show off his body shape and big face like all Kyudeo family members, Luju and Haiyi are still good looking. Although these 3 guys did not work in Umbu, but because of the special family inheritance, they have already started to have positions in the departments that their respective families are in charge of in the village. For example, Akimichi Choza is now the squad leader of the defense department, Narashika Issa is now the assistant staff officer of the staff department, and Yamanaka Kaki is the analyst of the intelligence department's analysis team. Even, the 3 of them have been promoted to Jonin because of their outstanding performance. This point was strongly complained by the rope tree. Apart from Umbu's identity, he is just a Chunin. But this is only because Umbu will not participate in the promotion of Jounin. With the strength and ability of Naruki, Minato, and Nanoyu, as long as they leave the Umbu sequence, they will be Jounin. As for Jiraiya and Orochimaru, Satoru worried that they would fight and affect the atmosphere, so he ignored them. Matt Dai, this guy took his son Akai to conduct hot-blooded youth training, but Wu couldn't find anyone else. In this way, the people present today are all juniors who have connections with Heitake Sakumo, and they can even be counted as the same generation as Kakashi in name. Of course, it is only in name. There are many people who are qualified to be Kakashi's leading teacher, but because of Heitake Sakumo's relationship, there is no need for this. In addition, there is a girl who is a little older than Kakashi who is more than 6 years old, the niece of the late Jonin Kato Dan, Mude. Originally, after Kato's death, Tsunade was responsible for taking care of Shizune who had lost her relatives, but since Tsunade went to Shibone Forest, Tsunade's direct disciple, Nanoyu, took care of her. Fortunately, Shijing spends most of his time in school, and he is very sensible just like Nanoyu himself back then. Moreover, Nanoyu discovered that Jingian also has a strong talent for medical ninjutsu, so the two girls are actually teachers and friends, and get along very happily. As the super genius in the ninja school, Kakashi Heitake's name, Shizune is naturally recognizable. Although she is Kakashi's senior sister, in front of this talented junior who entered the school at the age of 4, graduated at the age of 5 and became a genocide, and is now less than 7 years old and has already become a Chunin, she really can only admire her. Tisk, Wu, you dug a big hole for me. If I didn't save a few hands, I would have been screwed by you. Based on the idea that it doesn't cost money to eat anyway, Heitake Sakumo fell into the evil trap of enlightenment. Wu's dining table is undoubtedly the top enjoyment of this kind of gathering: unlimited quantity, variety, delicious taste, no preparation, and most importantly, no need to wash the dishes. So Heitake Sakumo naturally thought that, as the initiator of the party, Satoru would be in charge of eating and drinking. But, because Satoru said that the food made by magic is not nutritious, especially for children, so he only includes drinks. Heitake Sakumo had to personally purchase a large amount of ingredients to satisfy a group of people who devoured everything. Especially there is a fat man from the Chiu Taoist school. Well, I have long heard that Master Shuo Mao's culinary skills are superb, and I finally saw it today. Dingzhou showed a happy smile. It was rumored that after a certain mission, Konoha White Fang Heitake Sakumo suddenly visited famous teachers everywhere like crazy, and learned a superb cooking skill. His unique and powerful knife skills in the ninja world can even be used in cooking to carve the most ordinary ingredients into top-notch works of art. Only Nakoki, Minato, and Nanu, who had experienced the rumored mission, showed strange expressions on their faces, and quietly glanced at Wu, who seemed to have no reaction. Well, Minato, you are not yet of age, you can't drink alcohol. Here, Coke. The dining table that Satoru summoned was more like a wine table now, with a wide variety of drinks on it. He waved his hand, and a bottle of Coke floated in front of Namikaze Minato, who looked a little embarrassed. Brother Wu, I remember it was written in the ninja handbook that you can only drink alcohol at the age of 20? You are only 18 years old. Well, it's okay, this is just to simulate the effect of alcohol, and it's not real alcohol. Wu Man waved his hand indifferently, and bottles of specially made small bottles of sake that Konoha ninjas often drink floated in front of everyone who can drink. But, since it's not wine, why should I? You're under 18, you have to explain to Kusina if you're drunk. Minato stood up holding the Coke bottle in frustration, and the wine table was filled with everyone's happy laughter. So, it was said to celebrate my promotion to Chunin, but it turned out to be a gathering of your peers, Teacher Wu, right? Kakashi, who was sitting between Satoru and Heitake Sakumo, sighed like a little adult, and couldn't help complaining. Is there? That's why children should be cute, and don't pick up which pot is left unopened, hey. Satoru squeezed Kakashi's little face with a smile. Although this little guy is not as mischievous as before, his poisonous tongue is getting worse. Speaking of which, don't you also have two friends? Why didn't you invite them? Cut. Thinking of the Uchiha idiot wearing goggles, Kakashi subconsciously glanced at Uchiha Mikoto, who was whispering to Nanu. That guy belongs to the Uchiha clan, if Sister Mikoto is half reliable. I had an appointment with him and the guy was late again, so I didn't tell him. Tisk, that's really strict. Enlightenment showed a hint of narrowness on his face, but Kakashi, isn't there a girl who adores you? Why do you only talk about Obito? Kakashi's eyelids trembled, and he squinted at Satoru, who was laughing, and lowered his voice. Teacher Wu, Sister Nunaiu is just across the street. I don't think I should learn from your irresponsible behavior towards girls. So now I just treat Lin as an ordinary female classmate. He couldn't go on, feeling very cold. I happen to be free tomorrow, let me see what progress you have made in becoming a Chunin. Satoru added a piece of ice to Kakashi's Coca-Cola glass, seemingly concerned. The severe cold made the little guy shiver, and looked at his father for help. Heitake Sakumo held his forehead weakly. Don't hit too hard. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 184. Chapter 184, Creation and Regeneration by House Technique. After a good meal of the venomous kid, Wu threw himself into the new research topic with a refreshed mind. However, he failed to study for a few days, and was approached by Shenshu. Enlightenment. Wahahaha, my sister is back. Satoru raised his eyebrows at the news Nakoki brought. Tsunade is back. How is it? Has she practiced immortality? In the original timeline, Tsunade didn't know how to be in immortal mode, but this time she seems to have put in a lot of effort. I don't know what the immortal mode in Shishibone Forest looks like. I'm not very clear about the specific situation, so I came to you. Naoshi dragged Satoru and walked outside. Let's go, Brother Jiraiya and Mr. Ashimaru are both out on missions. My sister is going to ask you about immortal arts. TCH, then she hasn't come to invite me in person. Wu, you are floating, don't worry, I won't tell my sister. Brothers. It didn't take long before they arrived at Shenshu's house. Yo, Tsunade-sama, welcome back. Tsunade opened the door, looked at the young man standing with his younger brother outside, and couldn't help but froze for a moment. Well, Wu, you have already grown this tall. Grinding his teeth, Tsunade had already heard about the achievements he had made during this period of time, but when he thought that he would actually ask this guy for advice on fairy arts. Come in, do you want something to eat? Tsunade turned and walked into the room. Just as Gaku was about to agree, he caught a glimpse of Naoki shaking his head frantically in horror, and his mouth froze. I've eaten it, no need, well, I've eaten the rope tree too, you know my food making skills. What a pity, let's get down to business then. Tsunade put down the frying pan in his hand regretfully. Naoki quietly wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, and secretly gave Gaku a thumbs up. The two sat down obediently, and Tsunade put on a pair of red-rimmed glasses, and she immediately looked a lot more ladylike. Don't call me my lord anymore, I still have to ask you for advice, just like Orochimaru and Jiraiya, call me teacher. Wu obediently agreed. Then you have mastered the immortal technique. I have never seen the immortal technique in the wet bone forest before. No, not really. Tsunade's words surprised both Satoru and Nakoki. Then what did you do in Wetbone Forest? Originally, I wanted to learn Xianju, but Hwazu reminded me that Xianju chakra is different from ordinary chakra, and cannot be stored in the yin seal. Tsunade tapped the diamond-shaped imprint on his forehead, then stood up, and bowed solemnly to Satoru. During the time I was away, something like that happened to my grandmother. Wu, you saved my grandmother's life, thank you. Enlightenment, who had just stood up, scratched his head. The matter of Uzumaki Mito was deliberately downplayed by the higher UPS, and he almost forgot. Shenshu has already thanked me, so you don't have to. Tsunade straightened up, waved his hand to signal Satoru to sit down, and by the way glared at Naoki, who was he. Well, one more thing, the chakra stored in the yin seal cannot be mixed with natural energy to extract the magic chakra. The refining of Xianshu chakra must add natural energy at the beginning. Oh, this is something I didn't pay attention to before. Wu suddenly realized that this was probably the fundamental reason why Tsunade did not learn the art of immortality. Because of Tsunade's power, it is more reflected in the built-in battery. If the battery cannot be upgraded, Xianju is useless to her who is used to high power output chakra. Besides, I'm used to physical combat. Although Xianju chakra has a huge boost to physical combat, it's not suitable for my unique fighting style. Tsunade rubbed his temples in distress. The power of Xianju chakra is too great, and I can't control it precisely, let alone use it to increase strength. Even ordinary medical ninjutsu, I can't control it at all. It is indeed a great pity. Satoru and Nakoki nodded together. Tsunade's signature is powerful medical ninjutsu and strange power, but both of these require very, very precise chakra control. Xianju chakra is too strong, and natural energy is basically something foreign to humans, and it is too difficult to control, and it is impossible to display strange power and medical ninjutsu. For Tsunade, the gain outweighs the gain. Even if you work hard to gradually master the control of Xianju chakra, if you have the time and energy, it is better to invest in increasing your chakra reserves and developing medical ninjutsu. Ninja, naturally you have to learn the ability that suits you best, so that you can better display your own characteristics. Tsunade let out a sigh of relief. However, I've been in the wetbone forest for so long, and I haven't done nothing. Grandpa's old man's fighting style has given me new inspiration. The first Hokage-sama? Satoru nodded, probably knowing what Tsunade was going to say. That's right, Tsunade pointed to the yin seal on his forehead again, and said proudly. The huge chakra stored in the yin seal has a great effect. Grandfather Qianshao Zujian's fairy mode can make any wound heal itself at a high speed, and does not require seals, and does not affect the battle at all. In battle, Grandpa is immortal. And my art of creation and regeneration can also achieve the effect of healing without seal, but the chakra output of the yin seal can't achieve the effect of high-speed healing at all. So, with the help of the living slug, I developed a new kind of ninjutsu, the Haihuseihatsu, that is used in conjunction with the yin seal and the technique of creating regeneration. The technique of Baihao can completely liberate the yin seal, allowing the power in it to be used freely, and if it is used in conjunction with the technique of creation and regeneration. A confident light flashed in Tsunade's eyes. It can achieve the effect of a weakened version of Grandpa's fairy body. In battle, as long as I am not killed by one blow, I am almost immortal. Oh! Wu and Naoki exclaimed. Naoki was really amazed, and Wu just cooperated with him. However, this is not enough. Not enough? As a medical ninja, it's not enough to heal injuries. If the chakra in the yin seal can be used as support when the chakra of the companion is insufficient, it will undoubtedly greatly improve the survival and combat efficiency. Not only must you be able to increase blood, but you must also be able to return to blue. Satoru's silent complaints did not attract the attention of Nakoki and Tsunade was still talking about her achievements with great interest. My Baihao chakra can be transferred to other people, and these chakra can be directly used to launch ninjutsu. But, there is one thing that has always restricted the use time of Baihao's technique. Is it the chakra waste caused by the complete liberation yin seal? Wu quickly realized the problem. Complete liberation means that Baihao chakra will treat every injury, regardless of whether it is a fatal injury or not. And many minor injuries do not need immediate treatment at all. That's right, Wu, you really saw the problem at a glance. Isn't it similar to Xianshu's situation? Indeed. I realized that in the original timeline, Tsunade, who was still afraid of blood and decadent, failed to solve this problem until the Fourth Ninja World War. But now, she is obviously not reconciled to the ninjutsu that she painstakingly developed, with such obvious flaws. How, do you have a clue? Can you solve it? Let me think about it. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 185. Chapter 185, Insufficient Attributes, Not Enough Equipment. The reason why the first Hokage Senjujima can use the self-healing ability of the immortal body in this way is because there are too many chakras. If Tsunade is chakra, Senju Hashirama is Shitanla. So Zujian didn't care about that little consumption at all. But as the medical ninja Tsunade, every point of chakra might save a life. Even the huge chakra provided by Baihazayan is usually accumulated bit by bit, and it will be gone when it is used up. Any bit of waste is intolerable to Tsunade. Indeed, if my sister has a chakra like mine, maybe she won't have to worry about it? Ha ha ha. Nesuke scratched his head and laughed triumphantly. As a sibling, it is theoretically possible for Tsunade to develop his bloodline to his level. That's just treating the symptoms but not the root cause. The defect of the technique itself has not been made up, let alone. Satoru looked at the dazed rope tree, and Tsunade with a trace of regret flashed across his face. Obviously Tsunade had realized the problem. Ms. Tsunade is different from you. Your body was still in the development stage before, and the meridians and body parts were growing, so it was relatively easy to stimulate the hidden power in the blood. But Tsunade-sensei's body has already been basically finalized, even at its peak, and at most it can only strengthen the body, but the development of blood vessels is infinitely more difficult than yours. Tsunade nodded. In fact, Satoru said that she could strengthen her body, which was beyond her expectations. Strengthening the body is not a problem, it can be done at any time. Then, the key to the problem is the intelligent judgment of the degree of injury. To reduce overhealing, it is a necessary ability for an excellent nurse to control mana. As an arcane mage who is good at controlling mana, this is Wu's strength. But this still only stays at the level where minor injuries consume less chakra, and major injuries consume more chakra. The ability to judge the degree of injury and decide whether to treat it is the focus of Tsunade's requirements. It seems that it is too unrealistic to judge the severity of the injury based on people alone. After thinking for a long time, Wu came up with an idea. Mr. Tsunade, can you summon the split body of the slug fairy to help you check your injuries? Oh. Tsunade's eyes lit up, and then he shook his head regretfully. While it can be done, spiritism has a time limit. In order to prolong the summoning time, the psychic beast needs to resist vigorously, but in that state, even a living slug cannot do such a delicate operation. As long as the theory works. Wu Yi clapped his hands, reached out and took out a kitten from the void. Wow! What is this? The arcane civet, which had never been seen before, startled Nakoki and almost jumped up. Even the well-informed Tsunade almost screamed out. The arcane civet yawned, shook its head, and looked around with its purple cat eyes, sweeping the rope tree and Tsunade. Meow! I found a strange target. Detection completed. Target, rope tree. Affiliation, Hidden Leaf Village. Blood successor boundary, Wooden Escape. Occupation, Chinin, Umbu, codenamed Smith. Title, None. Lab access, None. Field of study, Civil Engineering. Contribution rating, C. Mr. Naki, please continue to work hard. Target, Tsunade. Affiliation, Hidden Leaf Village. Position, Jonin, founder of modern medical system. Name, Konoha Sunin. Lab authority, Level 2. Fields of study, General Medicine, Medical Ninjutsu, Taijutsu. Contribution rating, A. Tsunade-sama, I am the laboratory assistant arcane civet. Although I am not in the laboratory, I am still very happy to serve you. Tsunade and Nakoki were completely dumbfounded. This is... Well, my latest creation, the constructed pet assistant, how about it, isn't it cute? Wu Zhao beckoned, and the arcane civet nimbly jumped onto his shoulder, crushing him to one side. The weight of a small thing is not light. After Orochimaru's strong opposition, Satoru still cancelled the voice content of Little Thing to him, the creator. This is my lab assistant, Mr. Orochimaru has seen it too. Tsunade-sensei, if there is such a pet companion instead of the psychic beast, which can detect the degree of injury for you in real time, it should be able to solve the problem of Baiha's Heihatsu. However, the little thing is now suitable for my arcane art. If it is suitable for Baihao Chakra, it needs the cooperation of Tsunade-sensei. Very good. Tsunade clapped his hands excitedly. Is it actually intelligent? Is it powered by chakra? Well, but you don't need Baihao Chakra, ordinary ones will do. If you just check your body's state, it's very energy efficient. It won't be a problem to charge it for 10.5 months at a time. Show me, show me. Sheng Shu hugged the unresponsive arcane civet from Wu's shoulder, and couldn't put it down. To be a lab assistant? Wu, you're so reckless, can it cook? Tsunade's calm eyes revealed cold eyes, which made Nakoki shudder, and shrank his head in embarrassment. Cough, this is more complicated, I'll talk about it later. Enlightenment resolutely ignored this fool's courting behavior, and touched his chin. Well, if it's just for combat use, it doesn't need to be so complicated. I can even make it into an accessory that doesn't need to be moved, reducing a lot of unnecessary consumption. Magic ornaments, that's a good idea, constructs are supposed to move. Enlightenment praised his idea. It turned out that mages made all kinds of jewelry with magical effects, which was also a long-standing skill. It's just that these things are more delicate and complex, and have special requirements for materials, which are higher than those for stupid things like structures. Then it's settled I'll go back and make a feasible plan first. If possible, Tsunade-sensei can adapt Baihao Chakra. Okay. Wu, if you finish this matter, I will be the master and agree with Nunaiu and you. Shenshu, ha 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 ha, hiccup. Enlightenment, no, you are overthinking. Using the teleportation technique to return directly to the laboratory, Satoru immediately plunged into a new and exciting topic. In less than half a month, Wu went all out to make a semi-finished product, an exquisite gemstone necklace. According to detailed demonstrations, this trinket, which has added a small arcane energy core as the core of wisdom in advance, can be activated by ordinary chakra, and it will continue to run for a month without any problem. Once the Baihao Chakra is adapted, it can always detect the wearer's injury during the process of opening the Baihao seal. If the injury does not reach the level that needs to be treated, it will retain Baihao Chakra, and release it first when the injury is serious, for the creation of regeneration. Fully automatic, no burden. But when he was holding the necklace and wanted to find Tsunade to match Baihao Chakra, his father Mitaman found him. Wu, I have something to ask of you. What? About Chuomao, an important mission he performed before failed. Mitaman Yan's expression was very serious. This mission has a lot to do with it. Because of Shuomao's failure, we have suffered heavy losses, but the reason for Shuomao's mission failure is that the delivery of information was delayed in order to protect our companions. This kind of thing, the village can't advocate, but even if it caused huge losses, our Aijan didn't plan to punish Shuomao, but just sealed up the mission process and dealt with it coldly. Wu Wu's face turned cold. This matter. However, yesterday, the reason for the failure of the mission was leaked. In just one night, it spread throughout the village, and it has already formed a suppression of public opinion. Let us have to keep silent to suppress public opinion. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 186. Chapter 186, Many Supporters. Suppression of public opinion? Keep silent? What do you mean? Wu's face was cold. What kind of public opinion can make the village's high-level officials keep silent? Enlightenment, we are ninjas, and we are a hired organization. Completing tasks must be the top priority for the most elite jounin in the village. Mito Minion sighed, pinched his forehead in distress. Suomao gave up his mission in order to save his comrades, and he preferred his companions even more, so he gave up the interests of the village. As I said just now, from a personal point of view, we all understand what he did, but as the senior officials of the village, we cannot explain a single word to him. Because we are the defenders of the order of the village, if we explain to Suomao, it means that we support his actions, then the task system that the village has maintained up to now may collapse in an instant. Especially Suomo's reputation is too great. If the high-level officials declare it, the matter will even spread to the daimyo and abroad. If it is not handled well, it will even endanger the foundation of the village. Including Umbu, all high-level and big families will not excuse Suomao. It is the best way to deal with this matter coldly and leave it alone. After a long time, and Suomao made up for his mistakes, no one would take this matter seriously. Suomao's reputation as Konoha White Fang cannot be affected by a mere mission failure. After explaining a lot in one breath, Mitomonian saw that Satoru's expression remained unchanged, and shook his head involuntarily. Originally we planned this way, but what happened last night made almost all the villagers and ninjas know about it, and even daimyo sent inquiries. The person who leaked the secrets has been advocating that Suomao is unworthy, has a false name, that ninjas dare to give up the mission that they regard as their lives, and that the loss of the village and the country cannot be made up for by ordinary and special ninjas. Spreading his hands with a wry smile, Mitomonian sighed again. Now we can only dispatch the police force to control the most yelling group of people first, and hope that the matter will calm down as soon as possible. Suomao sighed, we can't come forward, you have a good personal relationship with him, go and see him for us. Humph, at least you still know to look for me, old man. If I hear the news personally, or later, if the matter is irreversible. In Satoru's eyes, a purple light flashed in Mitomonyan's heart. I'm going to kill that old thing. Shua. Wu's figure disappeared in an instant. Mitomonian was stunned for a while, his eyes darkened. Danzo, you are even more impeccable in your work, ashamed, we were all tricked into it by you. And since you have made a move, it will definitely not be limited to this level. However, Rijan, this kid Wu doesn't know how to give any evidence. I believe he can handle things that you can't handle. The will of fire, Sunjan, the villagers are so easily led by rumors, it seems that we have not done enough. There is no teleportation coordinates for Heitake's mansion, but the location where Satoru teleported is not far from there. Walking on the street, Wu keenly noticed that many villagers seemed to be whispering. In any world, gossip is a big killer, but I don't believe that dignified Konoha White Fang will be knocked down by mere rumors, but the knife in the back was stabbed hard enough. Papa's gang of pedantic old men are indecisive, shaking the foundation of the village. With Konoha's strength now, what would he be afraid of? Ridiculous. But yes, in the original timeline, this incident was finally characterized as Konoha died in the line of duty. He was a hero of Konoha indeed, as the old man said. No public has remembered such a large-scale rumor in just a few years. Wu paused and thought for a while. Mirror image. 3 identical mirror images appeared beside Wu. Leave it to us. The mirror images looked at each other and nodded, before disappearing with a swish. Satoru continued to walk towards Heitake's house. Cold treatment? It's still too late. Boom boom boom. Squeak. The door opened, and Gaku looked down. It was Kakashi. The eyelids of this dead child who were always unable to open seemed to really be unable to open now, and the rumors outside had dealt a big blow to him. Teacher Wu. When Kakashi saw enlightenment coming, his eyes opened suddenly. You are here. What? No one has been here before. No. Shua Shua. Kakashi's eyes widened, and he saw Satoru's two shadow clones appearing at the door with one figure after another. Flying Thunder God, so many people. There are people now, let's go see Captain Chuomao. Ah, please come in. Haha. Kakashi, don't worry. I was studying new techniques with my sister before, and I just found out about it. Don't worry, Captain Sakumo is not such a person who is easily knocked down by rumors. Nakoki rubbed Kakashi's broom head. Protect your companions. I was saved countless lives by Wu Wu on the battlefield. I support Mr. Shuomao's actions. Thanks. I admire Captain Sakumo very much. The task is important, but the situation is changing rapidly. Under such circumstances, he made a decisive decision to break the rules. Captain Sakumo may have made mistakes as a ninja, but he is a great person. Minato's words made Kakashi's mouth open under the mask, and the uneasiness in his heart dissipated a lot. Although the clan asks everyone to keep observing, but I know Wu Jun will not be silent. Mikoto came over, knelt down, and patted Kakashi on the shoulder. Senior Naraki said it well. In our Uchiha clan, companions are also extremely important. Although the clan people don't say it, there are quite a few people who support Mr. Sakumo. Really? For some reason, Kakashi thought of that Uchiha crane tail wearing goggles again. He quickly shook his head, throwing away that silly face. Thank you, Sister Mikoto. After Mikoto was Nanoyu, she smiled softly and pinched Kakashi's little face. Don't worry, Kakashi, Satoru, since he's here, he must be fine. Thanks. Kakashi struggled to suppress the instinct of poisonous tongue. What he originally wanted to say was, Sister, you are too blindly worshipping that guy. But he knew very well that if he said it, he would have to lie down and enter the house today. It's the same for the three of us. The request of the family is the request of the family. Wu said that we must come. Ding Zhao's fat body made Kakashi's entire small body shrouded in his shadow. Boy, I'm sorry, I can't influence the family's decision now, but it's okay to come here as a private person. Well, that's the case, and the teacher is the same. I also understand the embarrassment of the higher UPS, so don't blame them this time. Shikaiju touched his chin, and looked at Kakashi, who was a little confused. I'll explain the details to you later, Zoding. Hi, let's go in. Good. Don't worry, someone is playing tricks behind your back this time, and I will settle it. Satoru finally came to Kakashi. He squatted beside Kakashi and whispered. What your father needs most now is the approval of your son, but a brat like you probably can't figure it out at all, so I can only do it as a subordinate and disciple. Who is the brat? Satoru watched with satisfaction as Kakashi frowned. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 187. Chapter 187. Oh. Then can you figure it out? The task is more important, or the companion is more important. Kakashi looked at Satoru's playful smile and wanted to punch him. But he wisely resisted this irrational impulse. I don't know. Kakashi scratched his messy hair in distress. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I can't figure it out. Well, there are different opinions on this issue from different angles. Although you are already a Chunin, you still have too little experience, and your lack of experience is not enough to support you to make your own judgment. Satoru stretched out his hand and pressed Kakashi's ravaged white hair into a chicken coop. However, you should know the original intention of the first Hokage-sama to establish the village. It's, to protect everyone, to protect children, to protect inheritance. Kakashi's will of fire study is obviously still qualified. Well, the original intention of the existence of the village is to protect the companions, and the task is only a necessary condition for the existence of the village. If you can sacrifice your companion for the mission, then the mission is completed. Where is the companion you want to protect? If more tasks need to be completed by sacrificing your companions, in the long run, who will be your companions and who will form the village? Of course, if you give up the mission and cause heavy losses to the village, your father would definitely not want to see it, so he tried his best to complete the mission under the premise of protecting his companions with his personal strength. Only, for some damn thing, he failed. Some damn thing. Kakashi was stunned for a moment, thinking of what Luju said before. He suddenly understood. Someone wants to harm Dad. Do you think that with your father's strength, without absolute certainty, he would do this? Before you were born, Konoha White Fang was known for being ruthless on the battlefield. I believe that he will kill all the enemies behind his back, and come back with his companions after completing the task. Wu sneered. Your father may not be aware of it, maybe he is aware of it, but his pride does not allow him to shirk the fact that he has failed to other things, so there is the current situation. The higher UPS couldn't explain it, and he couldn't speak up himself. Then, just so coincidentally, the mission record that had been sealed by the high-level officials, in just one night, everyone in the village knew about it, everyone knew about it. Kakashi was tongue-tied, a mission failed, and there were so many things behind it. Danwu's father is a high-level advisor, Mightyman Yan, the younger brother of the third Hokage. The news he said is undoubtedly true. It's even more than that. If you don't control it, there will be more ugly things, and it is very likely that bad things will happen. A cold light flashed in Satoshi's eyes, making Kakashi shiver involuntarily. So, from now on, you are responsible for appeasing Captain Chuomao's emotions, and leave the other things to me. In my opinion, talent is fundamental. Be a person first, and then do things. Minato is right. Your father is a person first, and a ninja second. And a guy who ignores his companions may be a qualified ninja, a qualified task tool, but he will never be a qualified person. The Hidden Leaf Village is a way for ninjas to keep warm and survive in this world. The interests of the village can be higher than the interests of individuals. Individuals can choose to sacrifice for the village formed by their companions, and of course they can also choose to sacrifice for the companions who form the village. There is no difference between the importance of the task to the village and the importance of the companion to the village. No one can criticize a person with this awareness. Wu stood up, turned around and walked inside. The era of ninjas is not eternal, but people are always the protagonists of the era. The world can be without ninjas who do everything to complete the task, but it cannot be without people who are united and help each other. Staring blankly at Satoru's back, Kakashi felt that the world he came into contact with since he became sensible had undergone tremendous changes. So, that's how it is. As expected, I'm still a child. Captain Chuomao, are you alright? Walking into the living room, Wu saw Sakumo Hatake, who couldn't laugh or cry, being enlightened by everyone. Ah, a group of people like you suddenly appeared. I don't even have time to think about it now. Seeing Satoru coming in, everyone stopped their messy persuasion, but Hatake Sakumo looked pretty good. Dad. You look better. Then came Kakashi's surprised voice, which made Satoru sure that Hatake Sakumo's previous state was probably not very good. Really, thank you so much, Wu, thank you for bringing everyone here. Hatake Sakumo let out a sigh of relief. This group of people can basically be regarded as his juniors or subordinates, but they are different from himself. They are not alone. I'm just finding out now that I'm not alone either. Well, I have roughly understood what happened. Don't worry, this matter will calm down soon. You have done nothing wrong. My father also asked me to bring a sentence. The higher UPS cannot come forward. I hope you can understand. So that's the case, I understand. Heitake Sakumo deserves to be Heitake Sakumo, who was stuck in a dead end before. He didn't have the heart to think about this at all, but Wu's hint made him understand it all at once. Master Advisor, please worry, I will have no problem. That's good, it's rare for everyone to gather so much. In order to celebrate Captain Chuomao's breaking the taboo and sticking to his heart, I invite guests, let's have a banquet. Oh. A happy atmosphere filled the Heitake family for a while. At the Umbu mission, Wu's mirror image looked at the mission scroll in his hand and snorted coldly. This mission scroll was sealed by the high level, and the mission process detailed by Heitake Sakumo. It's just that in front of Wu, as long as it exists, there is no such thing as being sealed. Sure enough, there is something strange. With Konoha's attack power and advance speed, it will delay the information. There are endless traps and enemies in the middle, and he knows his fighting habits like the back of his hand. Death does not leave a body, death has no evidence, he, old bastard, I don't need evidence at all. The teammate who was rescued, is another guy who looks like a background board, an ordinary and special Jainin, and it's not Umbu. I said, if there was such a guy in Umbu, it would have fallen apart a long time ago. The action must be fast. We all understand the weight of the person involved, old thing. The mirror image clone disappeared from the spot without causing any movement. Not long after, the mirror image appeared in front of an ordinary house. Boom boom boom. Please come in. The door opened, and the young ninja who opened the door looked haggard. Seeing the mirror image clone wearing a cat face mask, he was slightly taken aback. Enby, oh you, came here for Sakumo Heitake's affairs, especially Ken Mizuki, please cooperate. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 188. Chapter 188, An Old Acquaintance. I'm here this time to tell you that the higher UPS don't plan to pursue the matter of Heitake Sakumo. This mission has other secrets, so you don't have to worry about it because of the mission failure. Another secret? Mizuki Ken looked haggard. Apparently the rumors in the village had tortured him a lot. He is not yet 30 years old, and he has become a special jonin at this age. Being able to be the executor of this major task together with Konoha White Fang Heitake Sakumo shows his talent and strength. It is precisely because he is good at information acquisition that he has become a special ninja. He had the determination to sacrifice everything for the mission, but when he was rescued by Sakumo Heitake and the mission failed, he was at a loss. Are you a burden? Heitake Sakumo failed the mission in order to save himself. Is it because of his own weakness? Or Heitake Sakumo's indecision? If he died simply, wouldn't Heitake Sakumo not have to make a choice? Is it possible for him to successfully complete the task and avoid losses? Wouldn't there be gossip and rumors, so that I can't get out of the shadows until now? If Heitake Sakumo wasn't so indecisive and gave up decisively, wouldn't the mission fail? If you give up on yourself, is the mission still a failure? Will the rumors in the village still be like this? If the mission is successful, will Heitake Sakumo be called a hero for turning the tide? And a special jonin who drags his feet back, won't be remembered by anyone? Anyway, I shouldn't be able to hear it, right? Mizuki Ken, whose mind had been in a state of confusion, instinctively asked back when he heard what Satoru said. After a while, his seemingly dull eyes regained a gleam of light. You said, there is another secret. What is going on? After Sakumo Heitake saved you. Satoru explained the doubtful points in the mission record to Mizuki Ken one by one, and the more he listened to him, the more he listened, the more ugly his face became. Putting aside distracting thoughts, he immediately discovered something was wrong. Damn it! Why didn't I notice anything wrong at the time? Lord Shuomao. He's fine for the time being. Although he's worn out a lot, he's not going to do anything about it. After all, he did what he thought was right. Enlightenment's expression softened behind the mask. This guy doesn't seem to have such a sordid personality. Otherwise he would have to resort to other means. But the pride of Konoha Hakuga made Heitake Sakumo to only carry the failure on his own, without blaming other things. This has caused the current situation. I hope you can help him, and help yourself, so that this boring rumor will end soon. Enlightenment's words made Mizuki Ken raise his head. His eyes were filled with the anger of being deceived, but he was still calm. I'm afraid it's not easy behind this matter. Umbu personally came forward, that is to say, the high level. This matter has nothing to do with the higher UPS. The higher UPS must explain the inquiry letter from the Fire Nation Daimyo. That's all I'm going to say. Understood, I'm going to find Master Shuomao. As soon as Mizuki got up, the door was opened from the outside. Sorry, you can't go anywhere right now. Enlightenment turned his head, and the cat face mask looked at the body of Wu, who was stiff at the door and dared not move after putting a word on it. Oh. Why would you? Come on, come in, and the one behind you, come in and sit down. Wu waved his hand, and Wei, who was about to leave silently behind Wu, froze, so he had to bite the bullet and turn back, and together with Wu, he walked in the door slowly. Are you, Root? Mizuki Ken, who is good at information acquisition, obviously knows about Gen's deeds. At this time, Umbu and Gen came to him one after the other. What are you here for? Satoru raised his legs as if he was chatting with colleagues, and looked at Wu and Wei, who were already wiping away their sweat with a relaxed tone. It's such a coincidence, old acquaintance. 10,000 grass and mud horses rolled past in Wuxin, and if he said the person he least wanted to meet, Ao definitely ranked first. Others don't know Ao's identity, so doesn't he know? This guy could instantly kill himself when he was 10 years old. Now, God knows how strong he is. You, why are you here? I want you to answer my question. Wu's calm voice made Wu and Wiki shudder. Especially Wu. If Wu finds out about another thing he did, I'm afraid he will die on the spot. No one could save him. We have no comment. Papa. Wu applauded. Stiff, I haven't seen you for a few years, you are still so loyal to the old man Danzo. Well, for the sake of acquaintances, you can't say it, let me say it for you. Under Wu Hui's frightened eyes, Wu slowly said. Old man Danzo wants you to confuse this Mizuki Ken, and use illusion to affect his mind when he is in a state of confusion. When the rumors fermented for a few days, and the high-level officials even had to take repressive measures under pressure, Mizuki Ken came forward to publicly slander Heitake Sakumo, who accused him of failing the mission to save him. Then, the public opinion that is directly detonated will cause Heitake Sakumo's reputation as Konoha White Fang to fall from the clouds, and even have more serious consequences. A flash of cold light flashed across Wu Hui's eyes, which made Wu and Wei feel that their souls were almost frozen, and Wu's voice also cooled down. In this way, after the 3 generations of Hokage, Heitake Sakumo, who is most likely to compete for the position of Hokage, will lose the popularity of the people and have no chance. He is not like falling into an ice cave, his whole body is stiff. This is completely no different from their purpose of coming here. Especially Shinobu Mizuki Ken was already stunned. How could I slander and accuse my savior? Mizuki Ken's face was red, but after a while, he slumped on the chair with his head in his arms. No. Sir Ao, if it's really what you said, I might really fall into the illusion. When you came, I had been in a trance for a few days. In this state, if the opponent uses illusion, he will be hit almost 100% of the time. If that's the case, I will absolutely have no face to continue living in this world. So, here I come. Enlightenment nodded, this guy is okay, he can confess his psychological flaws, which shows that he can still tell things clearly. In the original timeline, this guy probably either died or went crazy. Then, you two, don't leave yet, wait for Mizuki's special Jonin's public statement to be issued, and then go back to see Danzo. Oh, Danzo may kill you directly, but it doesn't matter, you can report that I did it. By the way, warn him again. Heitake Sakumo is not only my boss, but also my swordsmanship teacher. I haven't settled the matter with him last time. Don't think I don't know. Focusing on Wu, who was shaking even more, Wu didn't think too much. Tell him that if he wants to compete with Hokage, he must rely on his own ability. Besides, the third generation of Hokage is still in his prime, so he should consider his own lifespan first. Also, during the lockdown period, remember to exercise more, your skills will decline, but you won't be able to compete with Hokage. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 189. Chapter 189. The dust settled. In particular, Kamishino Mizuki-ken, as a rescued person, personally visited Heitake Sakumo and expressed his gratitude to him. At the same time, Wu took Noon and Wei to discuss with Heitake Sakumo in person for an afternoon. On the second day, that is, the third day of the rumors, the focus of the rumors, Heitake Sakumo, appeared in the Hokage building, the meeting hall. The three generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruza, high-level consultant Mitaman N, and Tenzuko Haru looked at Heitake Sakumo with his trademark gentle smile, but they couldn't help but laugh. Suomao, this time you come. Third Hokage-sama, 2 advisors, I am here this time to ask for punishment for mission failure. Heitake Sakumo bowed slightly, with a smile still on his face, but there was something more in the smile. I didn't expect things to develop like this. My silence caused so much trouble, and blocked the way of some people. Hiruza Sarutobi frowned, tilted his head slightly, and Mitaman Yan looked over. Hiruza Sarutobi looked at Zhuan Xiaochun again, the other party nodded slightly, and he let out a long sigh. Suomao, I hope you can understand the embarrassment of the higher UPS. I understand that as long as I can contribute to the village, I don't care where I am. Besides, I never had that idea. Heitake Sakumo nodded slightly, and took out a cat face mask. This is the symbol of Heitake Sakumo in Enby. Third Hokage-sama, I apply to leave Umbu, and swear, I will always only guard the contemporary Hokage. Suomao, you. Sakumo Heitake knows that except for some force, he is useless in other aspects, especially in dealing with people. I should be responsible for causing heavy losses to the village this time, but... Heitake Sakumo calmly looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was smoking a pipe, with black and white eyes. I did what I thought was right, and I got the support of my friends and the thanks of my partners. For me, that's enough. Understood, since this is the case, in the name of Hokage, I will truthfully report your wishes to the daimyo of the Fire Country, and this matter will come to an end here. Hiruza Sarutobi pondered for a moment, and finally nodded slightly. The high-level executives will determine the nature of this matter in a few days and quell the rumors at the same time, they will give you an explanation. I don't need any explanation. The failure of Konoha Whitefang doesn't need any reason. This is the price I paid for my overconfidence, and I dare to conclude. The gentle smile on Heitake Sakumo's face disappeared, replaced by seriousness. He won't succeed. 3 generations of Hokage-sama, 2 advisors, Heitake Sakumo bid farewell. Heitake Sakumo opened the door and went out, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the cat face mask on the table and fell silent. Sakumo, this is directly announcing that he has permanently renounced his right to compete for the position of Hokage. Mito Minion opened his mouth slowly, a flash of light flashed in his eyes. So, he succeeded after all. That child, Wu, has already submitted his application for quitting Umbu and his team. He even wrote a high-level statement, really. Hiruzuru Sarutobi smiled wryly and shook his head. This is protesting against me, Yan. Wu is the most tolerant of sand. To be honest, this time I am worried that he will directly conflict with Danzo. In this case, why don't you stop Danzo? Turning to sleep, Xiaochun snorted coldly. Hizan, you are too tolerant of Danzo, what he did this time has exceeded the bottom line. There was no evidence before, but now I have it, I will have a good talk with Danzo, the route needs to be rectified. Hiruzuru Sarutobi's explanation didn't make Koharu appreciate it, but she couldn't do anything about it. Hiruzuru Sarutobi was soft-hearted about Danzo, not once or twice. Hi Jean, your worry is not unfounded, if it wasn't for Sakumo, Satoru would have gone to Danzo to settle the score. Remember what he said last time? Is it the last time, Yan? Now, I can't see through that kid, but I can only be thankful that this is my outstanding young man from Konoha. This statement is even more to my liking. Hiruzuru Sarutobi shook his head and laughed. I didn't expect that the son you raised would be so outstanding. Wu is really your own son? Hey. Son Jean. I'll give you another chance to organize my language. Not long after Heitake Sakumo visited the high level in person, the high level made public their decision on the handling of the incident. According to high level investigations, the major task that Jonin was responsible for Heitake Sakumo failed due to force majeure, and there is no subjective abandonment of the task. Heitake Sakumo himself voluntarily resigned from the position of captain of the Dark Department as a sign of self-punishment. High-level reminders: keep your eyes open, distinguish right from wrong, trust your companions, don't believe in rumors, don't spread rumors, and don't make rumors. For friends, for family, for children, for the future, pass on the will of fire that is passionate and mutual fetters. Everyone is a leaf on the big tree of the village. Where the leaves dance, the fire is also alive. The fire will light up the whole village and cause new leaves to sprout. The official statement works very well. In the ninja world, especially in a place like Konoha, there is nothing more reassuring than Hokage pouring chicken soup himself. Overnight, the rumors about Sakumo Heitake disappeared as quickly as when they suddenly appeared. The incident that would have caused great regret, and caused Konoha to lose a cage-level powerhouse, once again disappeared invisible. Although the high-level statement did not make it clear, it made it clear that Sakumo Heitake was not held accountable for the failure of the mission. And the chicken soup in the back is even faintly supportive of Heitake Sakumo's approach. Although ninjas must focus on missions is an iron rule that all ninjas will regard as a program of action. But this time, the ninjas saw the shadow of the will of fire, which is unique to Konoha Hidden Village, outside the rules. Someone has a choice. Where there is a choice, there will be controversy. Insist on doing what you think is right, sometimes you really need to challenge the rules. But the rules are made by people. Rules are also enforced by people. Rules don't have to be broken, sometimes, it just needs a little flexibility, a little human touch. With Heitake Sakumo stepping down as the captain of the Umbu, Team Satoru has also stepped down from the Umbu. Tsunade got the magic necklace customized by Sato, and temporarily put all his energy on perfecting Baihao's technique. Therefore, she recommended Nanoyo to be the monitor of the Konoha medical class, and temporarily replace her in the training of medical ninjas. There is nothing to say about Chenshu and Minato, both of them have relatively special identities. Mutun Ninja and Renzuriki guards, without the mission of Umbu, they began to perform ordinary missions in their original identities. Originally, Wu also thought that he would finally be able to take this opportunity to take a break and conduct a wave of research. After all, in order for Sarutobi Hiruzen to make up his mind, Satoru handed him the enchanted enhanced combat vest that he had been clutching. There is Orochimaru part-time job. In fact, this is used to practice master-level magic, and the number of strengthened combat vests completed is already quite a lot. This time, Satoru wasn't polite, and he didn't fall for Sarutobi Hiruzen's tricks when it came to processing fees. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 190. Chapter 190, Invitation from Mount Miyamu. Enchanted to strengthen the combat vest, very fragrant. With this kind of thing, Hiruzuru Sarutobi couldn't help but want to change that heavy armor piece battle uniform. Greatly increase the chance of survival without affecting combat effectiveness. For the first time, Satoru showed the ability to affect the strength of the entire Konoha. Therefore, Hiruzuru Sarutobi had no choice but to hold his nose and agree to the price of enlightenment. Besides, Hiruzuru Sarutobi also understood very well what it means for Satoru to take out this thing at this time. However, compared to the previous worries, Wu Shik's handling method has already made Hiruzuru Sarutobi laugh so hard that his teeth almost fell out. The reward is that Mito Minion told Satoru that a big explosion occurred in the deepest secret laboratory hidden in the root. The loss was very heavy, and Danzo's most powerful research team was all buried in the explosion. Umbu, who went to clean up, confirmed that no one could survive such an explosion. Although Danzo didn't say anything, everyone could see that he was so distressed that he was dying. For a while, Wu's mood improved a lot, but things didn't seem to be less because of his better mood. On this day, Minato came to inform him of an important matter. Immortal Toad from Mount Miyamu wants to see him. In this regard, Satoru was not very surprised. After all, since he led the team to rescue Minato and support Jiraiya, Miyagi-san should have noticed him. And when he obtained the official permission of the Sage Mode from Jiraiya, the two Toad Sages of MT Miyagi, Fukazaku Sage and Shima Sage, were very interested in him. I thought the Toad Immortals had forgotten about me, and only now remembered to see me. Enlightenment put down the work at hand, and looked forward to the trip to MT Miyamu. It is said that Immortal Toad dreamed about you, senior brother Wu, so he asked me to take you there. Minato explained to Satoru the news he had received. Because toads seldom dream, so even the big toad fairy's predictive dreams are very accurate. It depends on the chance, you can't just dream. That's why the great Toad Immortal invited me to Mount Miyamu after he predicted something related to me in a dream. Really, I am so friendly and harmless. Wu couldn't help complaining. The old toad seemed to be wary of himself. After all, strictly speaking, in the impression of the toads, Wu, who understands the immortal mode by himself, is their competitor. Perhaps in the eyes of the toads, as long as Wu wants to, he can also create a fourth immortal land. Then let's go. How to go? Flying Thunder God. Satoru packed up the research materials and followed Minato out. Do you want to bring some presents? The great Toad Immortal likes to drink the most. That's fine, you can go now. Senior brother Wu, I haven't been able to sense the imprint of the Flying Thunder God in a different dimension, and Mount Miyamu is one of the different dimensions. Minato spread his hands helplessly. Jiraiya and himself had two ways to go to MT Miyagi. The first one is that the toads channeled him backwards. The second way is to arrive near the space gate of Mount Miyamu first, and then let the toads lead the way and enter the space gate. Generally speaking, they will use the first method, just pass a message to a little toad when the psychic comes over. But if you bring someone there, it's not that simple. We must first arrive at the gate of Miyamu Mountain Maze Mountain, but it is too far away. It takes a month to walk from the village. Even if I have the Flying Thunder God spell, I can't sense such a long distance. Minato was a little ashamed, although theoretically the sensing distance of the Hirai Shinjutsu could span the ninja world, but he obviously didn't have that strength now. It's okay, I can sense the flying thunder god spell from another world. If you channel a toad, I'll mark him. After he returns, I can take you there. The last time Wu did this, he brought back Orochimaru from Ryokai Cave. MT Miyamu and Longdi Cave are different spaces of similar nature, so it's no problem for Wu to teleport into them. Really? It's amazing. Minato's eyes shone brightly, as if he saw a bright future for his Thunder God technique. If I can be stronger, I can definitely do it. I guess so. Satoru didn't say a word, watching Minato cast a psychic spell and summoned a toad. Sensei Fukazaku. Why are you here in person? Minato was taken aback. Fukazaku Sage was not only Jireya's sage teacher, but also his sage teacher. At the same time, he is also the guard of the Great Toad Immortal, one of the high-level elders of Miyamu Mountain. He never thought that the psychic spell he cast casually would summon this adult. Well, little Minato, you must be seeing woo-woo when you perform spiritism at this time, so I'll come here in person. Woo-woo, long time no see. Fukazaku Immortal, long time no see. Is Immortal Shima alright? Satoru greeted Fukazaku with a smile. He was somewhat relieved that it wasn't Immortal Shima who came. Most importantly, it's not lunchtime. The old lady is going to prepare the ingredients for dinner. It's okay if Xiao Jiraiya and Xiao Minato don't eat better, but what are you doing now? Fukazaku ignored Minato's poisoned pale face and Satoru's suppressed smile, and looked around. Boy Wu, if you want to save time, you can sign a contract with our Miyamu Mountain, so that we can directly send you to the reverse psychic past. Don't be so troublesome. Well, this is for you. Satoru took out a positioning gem and handed it to Fukazaku, who reached out to take it. What's this? Simply put, you can take this gem back to MT Miyagi and Minato, and I will be there soon. Fukazaku was taken aback by Satoru's words, and then laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. As expected, you are the one who can develop the fairy art on your own. The Flying Thunder God art has been used to such an extent by you, Minato, you must continue to work hard. Yes, Fukazaku-sama. Okay, I'll go back first, we'll talk again when we get to Mount Miyamu. Boom. Fukazaku's figure disappeared, and Minato looked at Satoru nervously. How is it, brother Wu? It's really far away. Wu raised his eyebrows. MT Miyamu was much farther away than Longdi Cave. But although he could perceive the distance through the teleportation imprint, Wu couldn't locate the specific location of MT Miyamu in this world. But that's not important either. Come on, Minato. After locating, Satoru placed one hand on Minato's shoulder and activated the teleportation technique. Ugh. The figures of the two disappeared, and the next moment, Minato opened his eyes. It is indeed Mount Miyamu. I have already sensed the Flying Thunder God spell I left behind. Minato sighed, and Immortal Fukazaku had come to greet him. Welcome to Miyamu Mountain, Boy Wu, the technique of Flying Thunder God is really amazing. Sensei Fukazaku greeted. The old ancestor is waiting for you, come with me.